What is up, y'all? Welcome to the channel. I just wanted to give a quick disclaimer before the video starts that I had some serious audio issues editing this video. My software was being weird. I don't really know what to say about it, but try and follow along the best you can. I tried to put text boxes where certain things didn't show when I was editing. It's kind of weird, but anyways, this video is to help you. So if anything seems confusing in the video or you can't follow along, please DM me on Instagram at Alden_build and ask me any questions you have, because I want to help you with this video because I haven't really seen anyone else do it in the same way. So now there is going to be some specialty parts. I'm not going to make a whole list, but I am going to put all the torque specs, the link to the torque specs in the description. So please check that out. But you will need things like a torque wrench, probably multiple floor jacks, a axle nut socket, so a big boy, obviously breaker bar, things like that. And also some, I believe it's 12-point sockets specifically for the clutch itself, has the fancy bolts. That's the most basic stuff I can think of, but hopefully this video helps you out. Again, ask any questions if you have any in the comments or on Instagram direct. Would be a lot easier. Hopefully this helps, and good luck. What is up, y'all? Alden Massey back here with another video. Welcome to the channel. So today we're doing a clutch kit swap on this here 2013 Civic Si. Now I had done this literally 2 years ago, and it's not the clutch is the issue. It's because 22-year-old Alden did not grease the throwout bearing, and the throwout bearing finally said, I don't like you anymore. So the throwout bearing started metal on metal contact like crazy, got real stiff, being super weird with the clutch pedal, and started to smoke up a little bit. So it's time. I'm gonna go ahead and swap out the entire clutch kit because why not? Might as well refresh it. This video should be a guide on how to do this, and I didn't film it last time because I didn't know 100% what I was doing, and I kind of forget some things, but I have the general idea. So basically you'll need to, obviously wheels, whatever, those are the easy part, but when it comes to big things to remove, it'll be dropping the subframe with the steering rack involved with that, pulling the axles out, undoing the transmission, bolts, and the mount, and that's pretty much it. I mean, this is probably one of the easier cars to drop the transmission overall. This video should be able to help you out. Relatively detailed. Let's go ahead and get started. Basic things off the rip is undoing the battery and taking out the air intake, getting all that stuff out of the way on the top of the transmission, as well as moving the shifter cable assembly out of the way. So let's get it. Let's start disassembling the vehicle. So now we are taking out the ECU. There's a couple ports, couple bolts, a little outside sheet keeping it safe. And then you can see me here, I'm pointing out the bolts to disassemble the shifter cable system. A couple other things you might need to take off, and here's how I keep my ECU ports safe. You don't want them getting wet or greasy. Got the shifter cables off. Now the next thing is I can see, I gotta get this dang hose out of the way, this tube out of the way, but other than that, you see there's a connector right there, connector right here, right there, another one somewhere right here we gotta undo. Can't really see it. Got back here to undo. Gotta undo the ground wire. And then eventually, I'm not sure if I'm gonna do it right this second, but we do gotta get the slave cylinder off as well. And then I can start working underneath, getting the subframe off. All right, so what you didn't see was, couldn't really see because I had the camera here. I got the ECU out, which is just 2 bolts. Got that out, these little backwards clips here. Push it down to get it off, get it out of the way. I covered up the ECU ports because I don't want them getting dirty, obviously. Got the shifter cables off. And then we got just some little ends and bits until we start cracking underneath. Now, last time, only one of the axles had to come out. Like I said, was it 1, 2, 3, maybe 4 connectors there on this side. and then that there. Gotta undo that, get that bracket out of the way. And I can't remember if I took this air intake bracket off as well, but I may end up doing that. Hopefully the cables will stay out of the way, but yeah. Got some work to do here. Then again, this slave cylinder bracket right there, you'll take off. And luckily enough, we don't have to take the starter off. So that won't be a part of this process. Luckily it's stuck to the engine, not the transmission, so. Oh. Already bloody. Gotta love it. It's part of it right there, buddy. All right, if you're anything like me, I'm pretty forgetful sometimes, so make sure to take pictures or videos of where everything goes. So I got this clip going here. I put the bolts back where they come from because that's how I do it. Got that done over there. Taking a video for my own records. I didn't take any pictures or videos last time, so I'm going on a freaking limb on this one. Didn't watch any videos, just going off of memory. So, should be fun. For 2 seconds, I just need to fucking undo this. Uncrack this shit. I'll try it. I'll try and keep the wheel as straight as you can. Hold that straight. Oh, there we go. Fucking A. That's what I'm talking about, Mom. That did work. All right. That's what I'm fucking talking about, Mom. That's what I'm fucking talking about. All right, just got the axle nut undone because you will need to pull the axle out. So I know you can see that right there. That was right there because normally it's dented in from the factory to kind of be a fail-safe. So don't forget, get you a screwdriver and a mallet if you need, and undo that and get that shit straightened so it can spin. You're gonna have somebody to hold the brakes for you because even in gear it didn't stay still, so that's kind of weird. But all right. Also, a very important part, okay? Flash alert. In here, your steering column, all right? This is already loose because I've done it before. Take this off. There's your steering column right there, okay? So make sure to mark it. Try and keep it as straight as possible. You're gonna undo it right here, okay? And you don't want this thing to go spinning the wrong way. I'll explain it more later, but a check engine light will pop on if it's not perfectly straight how it was before. Your power steering and your traction control will trip out. Ask me how I know, okay? So make sure to mark this. What's that, goo? Yeah. Make sure to mark this the best way you can to know exactly where it was lined up previously. All you gotta do is unbolt that and the steering rack will slide out underneath it, okay? I'll probably do that in a second. But make sure to do that. Make sure to do that before you undo all this stuff, because you don't want it to be pulling it out, okay? So again, we'll run through it real quick. Sway bar end link, tie rod, steering rack, 4 main bolts. I'm sorry, 3 bolts on each side for the lower control arm right here, 4 main bolts, and then these alignment bolts, okay? So bingo, bingo, muy bueno. Let's freaking get it, all right? We'll pull the axles out after that. Cool. There we go. Bingo. One thing I forgot to mention was we are going to need to do the rear motor mount. So I think at the minimum, this bolt and this bolt, maybe that bolt. I can't remember if I took off the whole bracket last time, but it's relatively easy. I believe they are all 17. Yep, all 17 millimeters. So also rear motor mount. I'm about to bust that off, and then I'm ready for the 4 subframe bolts, 6 subframe bolts. Got that one all marked up, ready to go. You lift it up a little higher. Sorry, I didn't give you a heads up. Sorry, bro. Boy. Here we go. One more clip and I should be able to bring the whole frame down. All right. So the driver's side axle is super easy, okay? Once you do the axle nut on the outside, right, all you gotta do is just pry it out from the transmission on this side. Just do a quick little pry out and it should be easy, okay? Should be easy. If not, just pry bar, kind of just jimmy it out and it should be easy. This side, the intermediate with the passenger side, I'm not able to get the passenger side out from right here, from the mount. So just like last time, I have to do the whole thing together, okay? So I'll be pulling it out of the transmission right here. Everything will come out at the same time. So make sure to do these 3 bolts, 1 on the top, 2 on the side, bottom sides here for this mount. And then there's also this little black metal piece here. You gotta pull that off so you can get this axle out, because this little silver piece it stops on this metal bracket here. And then while you're down here, you can't really see it, but it's the flywheel cover. Make sure to do that as well. And then after that, it's time for the transmission bolts. So also make sure to secure your engine at this point. After you get the subframe out, secure the engine, make sure it's all good, staying flat, yada yada. All right, let's get this. Now, it should all come out pretty easy now. Bam. See that? Check it out. Now be careful where you put this thing, I guess. I'm gonna just put that there for a second. Now be real careful with this, because you don't want to have to clean off your axle here. So I'm going to put this in a bag and just leave this hanging off the hub pretty much. I don't want it to get any dirt and debris in here, so do that, and then I'm gonna tape it up. Careful. You don't want to mess up the teeth or make it not lubed up anymore. All right, I'll make it a clip real quick. All right, y'all. So I started getting the transmission bolts off after getting this flywheel cover off. So make sure to do this. This is a good idea, y'all, so you don't forget where they go. They're all kind of different sizes. So got one here, 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 up here. There's another one right here on the other side of this. Can't really see it, but it's on the other side of this. You don't need to remove this bracket. That's part of the engine. And then show you up top. And then up top here, I believe there's only 2 bolts. I got one right here. Can't really see it, the wire's in the way, but one literally right here. And then there's one right here you're looking at. That's the last bolt on the transmission. And then you just gotta undo the mount here, and she's ready to go. She's ready to be pulled out. So I'll try and film it the best for you, watching that process. Don't forget, I did get the slave cylinder a long time ago. I think I showed it, but. All right, transmission is out. Sorry, my phone died, so I didn't get to film anything happening, but we're able to get that last bolt off up there. And then I had to take the whole mount off in order to have room, because these little spikes here kind of get in the way with the bracket. It wouldn't be able to slide to the side. So it's pretty heavy, but once you get all that done, it kind of hangs by itself, but don't trust that, because you don't want to put pressure on all these shims and stuff. You can see here's one of the shims here, still right here. There's another one over here, I believe. But yeah, so you gotta get the mount off, and then you just slide it out, and then it'll diagonally come out like that. So, and then just be careful. Already got the throwout bearing off. Took that off, it's over here. This video not looking the nicest. This thing looks fucking gross, man. This thing's been through it, I'll tell you that. But yeah. So, time to swap out the clutch. Should be, you can see it's I believe it's 11 millimeter, not star bit, but 12 point or something, 12 point. See, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 bolts entirety. And then the pressure plate comes off. So let me film that process of taking it off and put it back on as we go. And then we'll be about ready to put the transmission back in. So let's get it. All right, ladies and gentlemen, sorry, it's tight quarters here, but make sure you put the clutch disc in there, put it up against the pressure plate as you put it on. These do go a certain way because it has these little silver nubs sticking out, so you know exactly how the pressure plate sits on. Make sure it says flywheel side on the clutch disc towards the motor, obviously. This alignment tool's here so it stays straight, flat while you tighten down all these bolts. So make sure to tighten those down with this still in there, and then you can pull it out and it should be aligned, because that shaft right there goes into that right there. So I'm gonna look up some torque specs and let you know. All right, y'all, make sure to grease up your throwout bearing. Also gonna grease up the shaft here and the shift fork, supposedly. Back in the middle of the day, bro. Oh my god. Talking about fucking heat. See that? That's how it works, bro. Hey. 2, 1. Oh yeah. Oh. We're chilling. Let me hit the right spline. What's up, y'all? Slight update. It is the next day. Make sure, check it from every angle you can. Get outside the car and look at it through the wheel well. And look at it straight on, you know? Because for real, spent 4 hours last night and realized this morning it's not aligned. 4 hours trying to put the trans in. That's not how long it's supposed to take. It didn't take me that long the first time. So check this out. So I already kind of got it loose, but you'll see here, the background stuff, it's kind of hard to tell. The camera's not really working. Yeah, that gray part, gray tan, make sure that's perfectly even with the clutch, right? So something more like that, right? Because the input shaft, right? So pretend this is the input shaft. It's supposed to fit perfectly in there and slide all the way through, okay? Now this thing will allow you to get some give, which is kind of the issue. That was my issue. So as you're tightening it back up at 19 pound-foot, pull this out and just check it every once in a while and make sure that it's properly aligned, because that input shaft is very specific, okay? It has to fit perfect, right? So make sure to do that. So what I'm doing now, I just loosened all these up on the pressure plate, and I'm gonna start cinching it back down in a star pattern and I keep checking it to make sure that it's perfectly flat. And then it should be relatively easy to get the transmission in, because I got this ratchet strap set up. That's the update. Should be 100% done today. That was my issue. All right, ladies and gentlemen, transmission is in. Got the mount on. So the best way to do this is, so obviously you gotta lift it up. It's gonna be, you don't really need that much of an angle because it's like kind of even with the frame, but somewhat of an angle. Get the input shaft lined up, and then it should slide in pretty freaking easy, okay? What I did was, if you're by yourself, I have 2 ratchet straps. I put it through this gap here, right? And then hook it to itself and wrap it around the transmission on the fat end and on the skinny end here, inside these 2 fork bolts here. And then you can slowly crank it up, crank the ratchets to get it elevated enough, right? I also kind of use a floor jack for. So once you get that up, once you put it up in there, get the input shaft inside, it should slide right in, okay? So there's a shim. I mean, there's one right here. One of these bolts here is a shim. Make sure that shim is lined up, and then you'll see it starts to get flush, okay? Once it's flush, you know it's working, okay? That's when you know that the input shaft has actually slid in the grooves of the clutch disc. So at that point, you know it's in, okay? And then once you get it in, start putting some bolts in. So I got I put 2 down here first, and then I went up on the top, did the top 2, and then there's some on this side as well. I started getting some bolts in, and you can slowly start cinching it down. Make sure to elevate the transmission, like keep it as flat, stable as you can with the jack or with the straps. I did this. I used the floor jack here just to lift it up to put the trans mount on. Once you have enough bolts in and it's cinched up against the motor, that's whenever I go to do the trans mount. So this bolt is loose right here. It kind of allowed for a little more movement if you want to do that, and then just cinch it down at the end. But I put this mount on first and then slid it on the, because once you jack up the trans, it perfectly fits into these holes. So yeah, so that's the play. I'm gonna finish torquing the transmission bolts and these bolts here. The transmission ones are like 47 pound-foot on the big ones, and then I think it was like 30 something on the smaller bolts. You'll see the 14mm bolts. And then I'm gonna torque these down as well, make sure the mount is fully torqued. And then I'm gonna go get some transmission fluid. I believe this is the fill hole for the transmission. I'm gonna have to look that up and see how to do that, like what the right level is. So we'll see, because I definitely dripped enough. I dripped quite a bit of fluid on the ground last night. So I don't wanna run it low, because I've already done this before and a little bit came out the first time I did the swap, but you know what I mean? Just want to make sure it's all good. But after that, it'll be time to put the axles back in. It'll be time to put the axles back in. I might need to do that first, actually. Yeah, that actually might be the play. I might need to put the axles in first. All right, y'all. Subframe and rear motor mount are in. Tightening up the axle nuts, which I'm gonna get some help here in a minute. It's no worries, just get it through, put the nut on. There, it looks more like that. It should look more like that. 150 pound foot. When you get this, you need to go right here with the screwdriver on that crease of the bolt and hit it with the hammer and get it to where that folds in. You saw how it was from factory, so how that folds in, bam, into that gap, kind of keeps it as a fail-safe. Right now, after I hydrate up for another second, I'll be doing the lower control arm, the sway bar end link, and the tie rod. Okay, so I'm not gonna film those because I'm gonna do those real quick while I jam out some music. Yeah, I'm just being honest. And then I'll get back with you whenever we go to do these up top items. It's all in reverse, you know. I don't really have to show you, but I'm here to help y'all out because I know no one else on the internet makes this detail of a video, so I'm here for it. I gotta figure out my slave cylinder setup. I gotta pump it loose to get it around the shift fork. Got those brackets in dummy like. You know, maybe we can do some fun stuff right here with you. Bing. Put another sensor down here. Bam. Check this out, check this out. Ba-ding. Heard that clip, that was a nice one. Yeah, tighten that bracket up, get those, that connector. Fix the bracket on this one again real quick. I forgot exactly which way that goes. Got the slave cylinder officially in on the shift fork. So what you're gonna have to do is you're gonna have to pop the nozzle on the slave cylinder. So you can kind of tell, there's the nipple right there. You're gonna have to pop that and give it relief so you can push it onto the shift fork so it can fit properly. And then got these two bolts in. I got this bracket tightened in. I'm in the process of getting this little bracket in. The one back here. This one back here, right? Double one back here. And then I'm gonna put the shift cables back on. After I get the shift cables in, all right, now I got all this up in there set up. Everything's bueno up here. Got the battery connected somehow. It's just sitting there. Just enough so I can unlock my steering wheel and make this straight and see if I can get the steering column all set up again. Oh, it's actually going to be the same as before, which is huge. Oh, that thing is spun a little bit. Right there. Okay, it looks the same as before. That's a good news. Now let's get this all aligned in here. Oh shit. Let me make sure this slides out just a little bit in order to get that bolt in there. And it's hard to see, I know, I hear you. Okay, cool. That's going in. Oh, its knees on the concrete hurts. Now, the big issue I had with the steering column last time was I got it all done. I thought I got it all lined up properly, but the steering wheel was misaligned. Okay, so what that means is, like, I don't know if I showed it on camera, but you could just, without it connected down there, you could just freely spin this thing like 100 times, right? So, AKA, it wasn't on the right spin for it to work properly. You know what I mean? So I wanted this wheel straight. I've taken a guess with this one, but last time what happened was the power steering / VSA light popped on, and what happened was that my wheel was 360 degrees wrong, right? So it was turned to one side too much, basically. Yeah, so if that light pops on again, I'll know. So just in case And then what I do is, it might be a little tough with one hand, but I use the jack arm and move my seat up enough. And then I'm gonna tuck it underneath. Let me show you. All right, and then I tuck it underneath. So, and make it tight, okay? Because whenever it releases, it's gonna go a little bit further. So you just don't want the pedal to shoot back up, basically. So there's that. We'll come back down here. The wrench right here, right? You put it on the nozzle. It's kind of hard to tee, I'm sorry, y'all. But you put it on the nozzle and then pull it up, pop it loose. I don't know if you can hear the juice come out. Put it closed again, okay? So close it back up. Come back in here. Also, make sure that you have enough fluid in here. So like I'm pretty low, so I need to top it back off. I use .4 brake fluid. I think that's what it recommends. Either .3 or .4. Okay, so just make sure to fill that up. Come back in here. Remove the jack. And then pop it up. Bam. And then now I got pressure again. See? And you do that until there's no air. And you can kind of tell by the way when you pop the nozzle, you'll hear either a lot of fluid come out or barely any. Barely any means there's a lot of air in the system. So keep that in mind. And just repeat the process over and over. See, I had a little bit of air in it. Let's keep going. Well, y'all, it is all complete. All right, it is all complete. Whew, am I relieved. So, a little update. So, I was telling you about the power steering light, right? So, this light right there with the steering wheel will pop up, and maybe the traction control light. So, the steering wheel was not aligned properly down there, right? So, it was like ABSing like crazy. So if that happens to you and it just like brakes on itself, brakes by itself, don't trip out. It's only because the steering wheel isn't aligned properly. So I know I mentioned it already, but I want to just let you know for sure. Okay, get down here. If you think you have an idea of which way the wheel spun whenever it wasn't connected, spin it the other way, right? So like mine, it was to the left, okay? Because whenever I had it undone, I was like, oh, it's just free flowing, right? I didn't realize. So I had to spin it back. I spun it back one time, but I didn't spin it back twice. So I realized, okay, spin it back one more time, reattach it down there. And if you need to do a couple test drives, just put the bolt in, don't tighten it up, but be careful. Neighborhood streets only, right? Up and down, that's it. Be careful, please. I'm not telling you to drive without a steering column attached, okay? But you could put it down, and I did that, just spun it one time, put the bolt just back in, and the light went away while the car was on the entire time. So no need to flash it, no need to turn it off, undo the battery, whatever. You're set, okay? Lights are all off, car runs great. Now make sure all I do is a 300-mile clutch break-in period, okay? I'm gonna recommend that. Other people will say freaking 15,000 miles because people are children, right? Or they're women. You could probably just drop the clutch right now, but I wouldn't do that, okay? I wouldn't do that. I really hope this video helped you out, okay? I made this video to help you out, right? So if you have any questions, put it down in the comments or message me on Instagram at Alden_build, okay? Please hit me up if you have any questions, because I know exactly what I'm doing now. Make sure you put all your bolts in space that you know exactly where it goes. I probably should have said that at the beginning. Hopefully this helped out a lot. Thank you so much for watching this, and I hope you got your clutch all swapped out and your steering aligned properly. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.